Well guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome once again to another video. Now something a bit different for us today. I wanted to go out with the Sony A7R5 and try it for street photography because of late I've always been using the A7R3. I've got more megapixels, I've got more dynamic range, so I'll be interested to see what the images compare to the Sony A7R3. I'm pretty much where I was last week. I love this area, the alleyways and places like that. We don't have light today, we don't have any light at all, but there is a forecast of snow, so I'm kind of hoping that we get some snow because I've never done any street photography while it's been snowing. Now I've chose two lenses today. I've chose the 14mm and the 35mm. Now street photography for me is really interesting. I love it, and it does break the monotony of photographing the same all the time. You know, I do a lot of landscape. Sometimes I get tired of that, and then I can switch to street photography. So I want to be able to do that in my videos, show that I vary my videos. It's not going to be the same all the time. And I do have a large following that really enjoy my street, so I'm trying to cater for everyone. Now, I said to you earlier, we haven't got that light today, so what I'm going to be looking for is shots in different ways. Now, we do have artificial light in cafes and shop windows, and that's what I'm going to show you with my next shot. So I've noticed this shop window here, it's got some interesting lights within the shop itself. And I want to focus on the pavement. They've got the reflection of the pavement and people walking by. Now, I'm going to be shooting this with the 35mm. It works really well for the shot that I've got lined up. The 14mm would just simply be too wide. You're also going to have the inclusion of some of the buildings in the background, so it gives the background a bit of interest. But the main interest is going to be the foreground with the subject walking through and that nice lighting that's hanging down. So I'm going to get back, get this shot, put it on the screen above, and I hope you like it. Because we haven't got any sunshine today, there's no real high contrast scenes. I'm going to be looking for subjects within restaurants or anywhere where you've got some artificial light or even ambient light coming in through the window. Now this cafe, we've got a smartly dressed guy sitting in the cafe right at the window, and he's being lit up from the ambient light coming in through the glass. It's got some nice framing around the edges of the window. It's going to be a black and white, so I'm simply going to have the graffiti to the left hand side, the guy to the right hand side with this nice framing and some of the artificial lighting within the cafe, and then we'll continue our walk around the streets of downtown. Now, the snow that was predicted, it's more like sleet, so I wanted to make sure that I stayed dry, so I've gone back home and I've got my waterproof jacket on. I've seen another shot round the corner here. Now I've got some girls, they're dressing the storefront window, and you've got a lamp there, a circular lamp, and it's casting its reflection onto the glass. Now all I've got to do is get lined up, wait for the girl to stand up, and then I'll alter and adjust my position to place that reflection of the lamp on her shoulders, and it should work out a really interesting shot, a good example of thinking out the box. It's going to be a black and white. Now it could be a waiting game, because like I say, I need one of the girls to stand up to place that reflection on the shoulders, but I'm sure if I hang about long enough I'll get the image. But it's another image to go for, so I'm going to get on, get this shot, and I hope you like it. Now my thoughts on the A7R5 today. What a camera, it really is. It's smooth, it's fast, and it's been perfect for street photography today. So it's definitely a camera I'm going to be using more often for doing my street photography. Now that doesn't mean to say the A7R3 that I've been using isn't capable. It's another brilliant camera, but to use the A7R5, I've used it in landscape now, and I've used it in street, and it's absolutely flawless, it really is. The weather's terrible today, it's sleet, it's snow, there's rain. What I'm actually doing is I'm getting the shot and I'm simply putting the camera back in my bag. That's not to say that the A7R5 and the lenses that I'm using aren't weather sealed, they are, but they're not waterproof, and I don't want to take that risk. Now the area that I'm at now, there's like 3 restaurants on this corner here in Gastown, and I know from previous that the windows steam up. Obviously they start cooking, they start getting guests. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to make a way around the corner where all that glass is steamed up. There's a guy and a lady sitting there. I think she's got a hat on. You're not going to be able to see that much of them, but that's going to create mystery in the image, and I think it'll work really well as a shot. Now what a great location this will be for later on when it's dark. The subjects are going to be really silhouetted with the steam on the window there, so I'm going to hang about here. So I'm going to make a way around the corner and try and grab this image. Now a thing to be aware of when you are taking these shots, be aware of your own reflection in the glass. It has started raining again, but managed to get some shots earlier. What I've decided to do is to wait until it gets really dark. Now when it gets dark, I'm going to be able to make more use of that artificial light. You're going to have more contrast, it's going to have more mystery, because the edges, the framing of windows is going to be a lot darker, and your subjects are going to really stand out against that artificial light within the restaurant. But I hope you can take something away from today's video, even though I haven't had those high contrast scenes that I usually photograph in with the sunlight. I've been thinking out the box and looking at things in a different way, and that's what you've got to do as the weather patterns change your thought process at the same time. Now I came to this area here and there's some great lighting across the road, the signage above the bar that I'm going to photograph, and it's making for some really interesting lights, especially when subjects walk through that light. Now we're getting the weather front coming in right up this street, and at a quick enough shutter speed I'm going to be able to capture that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to manual focus on the opposite side of the street and just simply wait for the subject to come along. So that's the shot. I want to get back and capture it. And the good thing is I've got a shelter just above us here, so it's keeping us dry as I grab the image. But I think it'll be an interesting shot, and it's another one in the bag. Now the rain continues to fall. It's pretty miserable, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I've just stood in a big old puddle. But what I'm going to do is, now it's a lot darker, you'll be able to see how the artificial light really stands out. So what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for some more of that condensation as the cooked food and the cooked meals within the restaurant to materialise on the glass. And I'm going to be looking for subjects sitting in the window. Now they're going to really stand out as silhouettes because you're going to have that backlight of the restaurant inside. The rain has stopped for the time being, so that's great. And I've came a bit further up. We've got this really lit area here, and that's what I want to work with. I want to work with the artificial light, pretty much which I've been doing all day. And I hope you're enjoying the images. It's something different, and I've really enjoyed it. Now, because of all the lighting in here, if you go to the other side of the road, because we've got that wet surface, we're getting a lot of this light reflecting onto the road, so it adds interest into the foreground. Now I'm shooting wide open now because it is dark. I'm shooting wide open round about 800 ISO, which isn't high at all. You know, nowadays the cameras are amazing, so don't be afraid to bump up your ISO, especially when it gets dark on an evening like this. Now we've came into this area here and we've got sheltered parts, so I can shelter from that rain. Because I've been here previously, I've pinpointed areas for the night time where I could possibly get some shots. Now one of them areas is a restaurant in front of us to my left hand side. Now as you go up the alleyway, there's actually a window to the side of the restaurant which looks into the kitchen. Now what I want to do is I want to focus on the chef in one of the shots. Just working away, working in the kitchen. And because we've got this rain, I want to actually focus on the rain itself on the glass. So the subject in the background is going to be out of focus. So it's two different styles of shots to be able to show you. Now further up the lane, there's a guy sitting in this bar on his laptop. So not only have we got the artificial light within the restaurant, we've got the light coming up off his laptop, so it's lighting up his face. So that's what I'm working with. I'm working with light, so whether it's night time you can work with artificial light, whether it's daytime you're working with that sunshine. It's always about that light. Thoroughly enjoying using this camera today. It's been brilliant. But what I am going to do is I'm going to see if there's any more shots. It's pretty wet now, and hope you like them. So I'm going to get back, get these shots. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What a challenge it's been, but it's been thoroughly enjoyable at the same time. Got to try out the A7R5 for the first time on the street, and what a blast it's been. Like I said, dynamic range, quick, smooth to use, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And we thought out the box a lot more today. You know, we had to think more because we didn't have that sunlight. So what I done was I paid my attention to, within restaurants, reflections, using artificial light, and I hope that's what came across in my video today. Now I know street photography isn't for everyone, but I hope you can see that it all works in the same way, whether it's landscape, abstract, street. You know, it's really brought me on as a photographer. You know, I started off with landscape, and because I live in downtown in the big city, I started doing street, but street photography really taught us a lot about composition and light and the use of subjects. So don't forget, leave a comment below today's video. It's really appreciated. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below. As always, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It's much appreciated. I don't know where I'll be in the next video. Maybe landscape, I'm not too sure. We'll just have to see. But until then, thanks for watching. Bye bye.